यस पीपल, गुड मॉर्निंग, गुड आफ्टरनून, गुड इवनिंग टू ऑल ऑफ यू। कैसे हैं सब लोग? होप सो आप सब लोग बहुत बढ़िया रहेंगे। मैं बता दूं, मैं भी बहुत अच्छा हूँ। तो जैसा कि सीए फाइनल का रिजल्ट आया और आज मैं आपको मिलवाने वाला हूँ ऑल इंडिया रैंक 4। बहुत बड़ी बात होती है जब चौथे नंबर की रैंक आती है। स्मृति बालाजी, एंड स्मृति इज ऑल्सो फ्रॉम द चेन्नई। यू नो दैट AR3 is also from Chennai, AR4 is also from Chennai. So first of all, like Smriti, congratulations to you and really proud of you. You are so amazing and you scored so amazing marks. So first question to you, like how was your reaction when you came to know that you passed the CA and you scored the AR4?
Hi, sir. Thank you so much. So the first reaction was just shock because I was just reloading that page like two times to make sure it was 620. And then the site crashed. So we couldn't see if it was a rank or not for like 10 minutes. And then we were just finding out what rank it was. Then once we saw that AIR-4, all my parents and everyone at home started shouting. And yeah, so it was a great moment.
तो एक्सपेक्टेशन था कि यू विल गेट द रैंक और वो भी AR4?
No, sir, I didn't expect this high rank. I thought I would clear it, but didn't expect this high marks,
But
honestly.
in CA intermediate also you are score like AR25, right?
Yes, sir, AR 25. But yeah, for final it was more challenging, and you have like so much to study. So
राइट 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 राइट। सो सबसे ज्यादा जो बच्चों का क्वेश्चन आता है कि लाइक इन द लास्ट 4 months हाउ टू स्टडी एंड हाउ टू मैनेज द ऑल द 8 subject. So my question to you, how you manage your study in the last 4 months, and this is in the COVID time. You know that like many times there are lots of disturbance और कहीं से कुछ सुन रहे हैं किसको COVID हो रहा है, क्या हो रहा है. So how you managed your study and how many hours you used to study per day?
okay. So for studies, all I did was to start with subjects I liked in general, which were FR, law, and risk management and audit. These were generally subjects which were my favorite to start off with studying. And then I went with the more amendment related subjects like DT and IDT and costing also. And I only referred to institute study materials, and except for DT, I referred to institute study material for every subject. So that helped me. With respect to hours, I tried to measure hours in the first few weeks, I guess, but I just found that that was not my thing to measure hours and study every day because I never had a consistent, like exact study routine that I followed every day. It kept changing a lot. So I guess I just stuck to around 8 to 10 hours of studying with like proper sleep and breaks. But I studied like effectively in that time, and that's how I managed it.
That's great. So how you studied your DT paper number 7?
TT paper, so I saw your classes and only referred to compact. So institute study material for DT is kind of very vast. So to study that would take up a huge chunk of your exam leave time, which you can't afford to give it. So institute study materials questions I did, which were not covered in your. So very few questions are there which are not covered in the compiler that I used. So apart from that, I only used your compact. I went through the compact for each chapter and solved all the questions in the compiler like around 3 to 4 times and saw RTPs, MTPs for the last 2 3 attempts for DT because amendments and stuff. So I saw like from like May 2020 to November 2021, those 4 attempts RTPs.
Great. So you referred our revision lecture also or not?
Yeah, definitely, sir. Whenever I was bored, I needed like a quick revision, and I was too like when you're not feeling in the mood to study, you can refer to that revision lecture and kind of finish a topic in like if you watch it, everybody watches it at some 2x speed or 1.5x. So we'd finish one chapter in 30 40 minutes. That'll be like a proper break.
So you
So
understand Hindi?
yes, sir, I do.
So Hindi movie वगैरह देखते हो?
Definitely, but not recently, but old movies I watch.
Right, right, right. Okay, one more question. Like, you know, that social media, like I
Yes.
always prefer that at least if you don't have the control over that, then you should avoid that social media. So how you manage your study and social media कितना use किया, कैसे किया, कितने time तक आप जो Instagram, Facebook, Twitter and all सबसे दूर रहे?
So I I didn't have Instagram and WhatsApp for that time that I was studying. I definitely quit it because there are definitely people who get really good marks and study well and continue to be active on WhatsApp and Instagram. But I personally couldn't handle the distraction, so I ended up quitting. I had just Telegram and like my phone. I had a phone, but I used to keep it in the other room while studying and only take it out at night or if I wanted to talk to someone or ask doubts. That was when I used it because I couldn't, like, it was distracting. So I definitely stayed away from it. But it's up to each person. Like if you're able to manage it, you can definitely have it. But like I think each person will know what if it's distracting them, you will itself realize and you can kind of stay away from it.
That's good. That's good. Okay. One more question. Always a student used to ask, so how to manage the audit and law subject, because both are theory subject. You have to revise, revise, and revise. So how you studied your audit as well as law, and especially audit, because in audit in the first group and DT in the second group, like scoring is really difficult because both paper institute expect more and more from these two people. So how
Right.
you manage your audit paper?
Audits. So I was going self-study, but using the institute study material. But when I started studying, I used to watch Shubham Keswani's videos online. So he has a lot of YouTube videos for all the miscellaneous topics in audit. So I used to constantly watch those whenever I was bored, and those kind of help to kind of revise the whole thing in like 20 minutes. So if you're taking a chapter, you can revise it in 20-30 minutes and it will be done. So every day, if you watch a few, you'll revise audit on the side. If you're studying some other subject, you can revise audit whenever you're taking breaks that way. Because to study it all at once, you kind of forget. So, and also space like repetition. So if you study something for audit and law, you have to remember a lot of things. So if you're studying something 1 month and then you kind of go back to it the very next month, you tend to remember more. But if you take a break of 2 to 3 months, you end up forgetting most of the sections. So to avoid that, you kind of have to go through it once in a while. So law, I use institute study material only to study along with my lectures. But audit, I use Shubham's notes, whatever I had. I couldn't use the book because that was not out by then. But then I watched some of his videos and all his notes, whatever I had. So that helped a lot.
That's good. That's good. You also did your articleship from UI. So, like
Yes.
many people ask that, sir, it is many times it is not possible to manage the articleship with the study. So,
Correct.
how you manage your articleship and classes also and all? How you manage that?
So for during articleship, I went to a few physical classes and a lot of them I watched online. So with COVID, you were able to watch it in the morning. So like you can devote like 2 hours, 2.5 hours in the morning or evening whenever you have time to watch class, and then you can work. So we had deadlines, and so when that was happening, you kind of have to reduce the number of hours you can study. But if you just devote at least like 1 or 2 hours to studying, then you can manage it even with a big four background.
Right. Okay. So, Smriti, what is your future plan now? What you want to do?
I have no idea, sir. I need to think about it a little bit more and decide.
So, you are in the audit, I think, right?
Audit, yeah, right now
So,
audit.
your favorite is audit only?
I like tax. I like accounts. I like law a lot. So I'm not sure. Yeah.
So, start teaching tax, na?
No, sir. I think you are like very very strong with tax, so I'm not
No,
gonna.
I visit only 15 days to Chennai. So, you should start teaching tax. I will support you in that. Don't worry about that. So,
Yeah. Okay.
thanks a lot. And like Smriti, any golden rule to crack the CA with the AR? Like sir, ये तीन चार चीजें हैं that you have to focus that. So आप क्या सजेस्ट करना चाहेंगे आपके जूनियर्स को जो अभी एग्जाम दे रहे हैं और मई नवंबर 2022 में अपियर कर रहे हैं, तो व्हाट इज वाज योर गोल्डन रूल्स you want to suggest to your junior?
So for CA, it ends up being somewhat of a memory driven course, even though for practical subjects, you can get through it with a lot of practicing sums and everything. But for the ones audit and law and DT, where you have to remember a lot of things, I had a bunch of A4 sheets for each subject where I just wrote down only the formulas and the important rates and things like that, where you have to memorize it. and I used to read that on like a weekly basis or a daily basis for some things. So that kind of helped to remember the tax rates and things like audit uh, in that. So that helps. That's one thing to use. Things that you find difficult to remember, to revise it once in a week or once in a while, so that it's still fresh in your mind, and to kind of have a structured plan for the day. Like you have 5 to 6 subjects, that 5 to 6 chapters you want to study, and just focus on that instead of measuring the hours. Because when you start measuring hours, you kind of tend to wait for the hour to get over, and then you decide that if you had this many hours, if you started your table, that means you've studied effectively, which sometimes is not the case, because you need to measure it based on what you finished studying that day. So that's one thing. And to sleep properly, like I used to sleep 6-7 hours every day, even during the exam time, because that kind of gave me energy to write. Found that during the days I didn't sleep, it was difficult to study properly at all. So that's the other thing.
That's great. So like कैसे लोगों ने support किया, family, friends, and like many time ऐसा होता है, obviously you have sacrificed various festivals, various marriages and all, बहुत सारी चीजें ऐसी रहती है जो CA की preparation में हमको छोड़नी पड़ती है. So how
Correct.
you manage that?
I had to sacrifice some of the Diwali and other festivals that came around that time. I had to give it up, but it's kind of difficult. But then you kind of remember that you're doing it for the exam that's happening in a few months. So post that, you can go out and celebrate with your friends. But it's again like a personal call that everybody has to take, because if you want to also go to the wedding or the reception or whatever and spend time, and you can effectively manage around the other time, then you can do both. But if you feel that you can't, you have to prioritize whichever one you want. And so in that, my family and friends supported it, so they've understood that I was studying. And so for that few months I didn't go out and do anything, but yeah, so they were very supportive in that aspect.
That's good. So Smriti, now you scored the AIR-4 CA बन गए. Like my advice, just आराम करिए थोड़े दिन, तो आराम से करके, ठीक है, just celebrate it. Next 5, 6, 10 days तक पार्टी रुकनी नहीं चाहिए करके, ठीक है. And next week I am visiting Chennai, so obviously I will give you a treat in the
Sure.
Chennai. And best of luck for your future, और जो तुम चाहो वो सब चीजें तुमको मिले. Thanks a lot and once again congratulations.